Good morning, friends. Happy Wednesday. I'm so glad to be here. And I am Marge Martins, your Diamond Upline. In case you didn't know, just going to introduce myself. I am so glad that you're all here and that we're doing this together. This is going to be an amazing month, and all these pieces of this puzzle are going to fall together, and you are going to walk away a richer, more amazing than ever before. So today, we are talking about building relationships. I love this topic because I feel like it applies to every area of your life, right? Like there's no area in your life that you do not at some point in time work on building relationships. And yes, all relationships take work. They take the input of both parties, right? And so today I'm going to take you through a couple of things and very basically give you the outline, and you can fill in the blanks because this is you doing the building of this relationship. And I'm going to take you through why, how, and where. I'm going to take you through those things and then talk a little bit about why this is important to building your Plexus business. I'm going to weave that in as I go. So why is this important? Let's just get right to it. Well, number one, I want to tell you a little bit about the difference between Plexus and a lot of other companies. I myself have been here for 10 and a half years now. So crazy to think it's been a whole decade of my life. I have seen and built relationships over this last decade that are strong, intact, and will go on forever. Do you know that this is the glue to a big part of your business? Like it's amazing of what a good relationship will bring forward into your business, right? Not just enriching your own life, but the lives of others as well. And so, one thing that we want to really focus on is long term growth. Whoever we bring into Plexus, we want to build a relationship with that we can actually have years and years down the road, right? It's not just come in the front door and go out the back door. We want to make sure that people stop in the in between and they want to stay there. Okay. This is what we call lifers in Plexus. And so, me having been here for just over 10 years, there's people that joined me way back in 2014 that are still here with me. These are my lifers. These are people that came to Plexus and said, I want to be here. I like what this is. I'm going to stay. Okay. So building relationships is crucial to your long-term growth in your business. And now let's talk a little bit about why they want to stay in this community. Many people do not have a group of people that support them in their goals, that support them in what they want to achieve health-wise, that support them in other things that they're doing in their lives, whatever they're expanding upon. Community is a place of where our culture is built. And if you think about culture, it's not what you grew up with. Culture is what you create in this environment, who your friends are going to be in Plexus, what you're doing with them, and why they want to be with you. So that's another incredibly important piece. There's a saying that goes around in Plexus that says, culture eats strategy for lunch. And if you don't know what that means, it just means that the fun and the relationship that you and your friends are going to have here together in Plexus is going to beat anybody's perfect strategy for what they say it takes to make it to the top. Build good friendships, build good relationships, and do the actions, and you are on your way. Okay. So, number two is, how do I do this? Why is this important, right? We talked about why this is important. Now, how am I doing this? Okay. So, number one, I feel like this takes a mindset of taking your eyes off of yourself and onto the other people in front of you. Okay. It's not about who you are or are not. It's about bringing value to who they are and what they and who they are, right? And so this takes real conversations. And sometimes we get tripped up on this a little bit in the world of social media. Sometimes who people portray themselves to be online is not who they actually are when they're sitting in their empty office like I am, moving with boxes and just being themselves. Sometimes it's easy to portray being someone online, because who's going to know that that's not you, right? Guess what? Everybody knows. Everybody knows and feels authenticity. You being who you truly are in life is going to reveal itself online. And so when you bring value to others, be exactly who you are. That is my biggest piece of how do I do this? Show up as who you are. Don't think, oh, I'm not as good as her. I don't talk about things like that, or I don't go live because I don't like watching myself. Nobody does. Nobody does. But you know what? If you would meet this person face to face in a store, in a public place, wherever, and they would walk up to you and chat, you would just be yourself. You would just talk, right? Be that person. Your authenticity will give the freedom to the relationships that you're building for the other person to be themselves too. And that's a gift that you never want to hold back from anybody. You always want to say, this is who I am. I'm so curious about who you are. And that transfers in every relationship that you touch. Okay. And so sharing, I'm going to go into this next piece a little bit, but this takes sharing who you are, sharing authentically who you are, and showing up online helps you to show other people who you truly are. Remember, I said, let's not portray something that we're not. So this takes a level of courage to truly just show up who you are online. And guess what? One little secret in this industry, people buy you before they buy your products. They do. And so if they see you authentically showing up, connecting with people, talking to people, not at them, talking to people, wanting to get to know them, not just spewing information, right? Then we start connecting. That's the how. The how is showing up authentically, being who you are. There's only one you in this world, and that you has to shine through in order for other people to say, she's so amazing. I want to talk more. I want to get to know her more. I want to see who she is. That's all it takes. And all it takes is dropping that level of self-consciousness of the voices that you tell yourself in your brain to say, doesn't matter who I am, I'm going to show up with who I am in my gifts, strengths, all the things that make me me. That's how I'm going to show up, and other people are going to relate to certain pieces of it and not everything. And that's good. That's how it should be. Okay. And so share common interest to connect with this authenticity. You are going to feel when someone relates to you. Connecting with that piece is going to be your key to stepping into that relationship and building it long term. Point number 3, where. I talked a little bit about social media because a lot of us do this online. I love how Shelley yesterday talked about how go talk in the comments of a post that has a lot of activity and the connections that you'll make there. Why is that? Because you know why? In those comments, people are going to relate to who you are based upon what you choose to comment about that post. Authenticity, okay? In life, we often have our eyes turned inward. We feel like people are looking at me. What are they thinking about me? This, in building relationships, takes you from taking the mirror in front of your face to flipping it to their face. And this is you lifting up your eyes to see people. When I say see people, it means to see others and less of yourself. Does that make sense? Because we don't want to take our own shortcomings that we think about ourselves and portray them onto others. What you want to do is say, hey, I really like who you are. I would love to get to know you better and share common interest on that, right? It helps us to take the eyes off of ourselves, put them on other people, and guess what? You forget about what you thought about yourself. Okay, so we're not comparing at all here. We're not like Comparison is the thief of joy. Can I just say that? Walking into building a relationship and truly, genuinely wanting to get to know that person is going to be so much easy if you're never using comparison. Do not compare yourself to anyone else out there. There is only one you out there, remember? This is how we are building relationships, by being genuinely you. That's how we do it around here in life in general. Okay, so online, there's multiple ways of where you can authentically show up as yourself and start building relationships. You're going to get to know people from different countries. You're going to get to know people from all walks of life. They're not going to be like you, but it's interesting to find commonalities that you connect on. Find those commonalities. Oh, you like dogs too? I'm a dog mom. Let's be friends. It's so easy to talk about something that you have in common. Okay. When I first had my first dog, Charles, my little pug, bless her dear heart, it was a huge part of building my business. Do you know how many people out there have pets that they are genuinely sharing with the world because they bring them joy? So if something brings you joy, that's a commonplace of where you can find conversation pieces. And this conversation is going to build your relationship. This relationship is going to lead into, hey, what do you do? Oh, I love and share about Plexus. Have you heard about it? This conversation is going to be so natural. They're going to start seeing it in your life wherever you share it. Okay. And like yesterday, Shelly said, we're not just posting about Plexus, we're posting about our lives. Because why? Because people buy you before they buy your product or what you're selling. Okay. And so when we are online, we're posting about who we are. We're being authentic about who we are. We're sharing about things vulnerably, not dirty laundry style, just genuinely being you, to help other people relate to who you are. Okay. And so one thing I often found hard was to be vulnerable because of fear of being called out, fear of being judged, fear of other people making fun of you. And you know what? Those people that are in the arena with you, in the bottom, doing this with you, is going to be the ones that matter. Okay? The people in the stands yelling their judgment, they don't matter. They do not matter. If you are building community and if you are building culture here today with the people that you are bringing in, these long-term relationships are going to be your support system. I started with no one. I started with no family. I started with just me, a couple of uplines that were my support system. And as I started bringing in people, we have built far more than a diamond team. That's small in comparison to what we can yet build. Okay. And so the how, the why, and the where online is a huge platform for you to connect authentically. Why am I having such a hard time with that word today? Online is a huge platform. Now think about if you had to go door to talk to people in order to learn to connect, or in order to find people that you wanted to build a friendship with, how much longer that would take, comparable to having this massive social media platform where people from all walks of life can tune in and say, oh, I like that girl, she's neat, I'm going to comment because what she's saying I relate to. That's how you show up authentically online, sharing by who you are, what you love, what you think, what your values are, what you want to do in life, your dreams, whatever you want, right? That's going to be a bridge to gap that area between I don't know you and now we're friends. That's the bridge that we're building, okay? The other piece of this puzzle is in person. In person, if you ever stop to take notice about when you're in a large room of people or in a large group of people, when you listen and just take in the conversations, who's doing the most talking? It's often, not always, it's often the most insecure person. They talk to fill the silence. Am I right? Now, What if we would sit and listen and just allow the authentic conversations to come to the top? You would be amazed at how many friendships could be built in person by connecting with what you see in others, asking questions, asking good questions. So, what brought you here? Do you love what you do? That must be fun. Does your family like that? Open-ended questions where the conversation can lead to more, right? And this will help you. This is the piece that I really, really, really love. And honestly, I have developed this over the past decade to be a piece of where I cannot speak words of the value of having this. This is finding and seeing the gifts that other people have. The more you ask questions, the more you genuinely are interested in others, the more you contribute and add value to this friendship, the more you will see the amazing gifts that this person is bringing to the table. This is because we know that we never have everything. I will never be everything to everyone out there, and I have no desire to be. The people with me around my table bring gifts that I do not have. That is what makes the relationship rich, because everyone contributes. Okay. And so when you're intentionally looking for the gifts that someone else has, then you start seeing them. You start seeing how they act around people, what they value, and what they put interest into. And then you see them sharing potentially a gift of encouragement. Maybe you see them sharing a gift of energy. They're always bringing energy to the room. Maybe they're sharing hope, right? There's never a dismal day in that person's life. They're always like positively bringing good energy into that conversation. There's so many gifts that you can see and point out in people. And when we started making this gold challenge, the leaders that are sharing in here, I specifically said, I know each one of you holds a gift that I want you to bring to the table, and I want you to pull out of yourself, because that's going to build good relationships here. That's why every gift is so important. And you're going to start seeing this as you are building relationships, as you are asking questions, as you are watching what they value, as you are speaking life into what they have. This is a huge piece that was done for me. And I always, always vowed to keep giving this back, to always pay it forward. When someone is going through a hard time, how can you speak life, which means bring encouragement, bring hope, bring value to that person? One way that I love doing this is when someone has felt negativity over a certain situation and they feel like they are not who they should be, or they're not doing what they should be doing. I love going in there and saying, look, we're going to erase that negative verbiage and we're going to replace it with a positive, really helpful verbiage that's going to speak and grow life over you. Because what does that do? That helps the flower to bloom. That helps them to see themselves in a good, positive light of who they truly are, right? Not to focus on the negativity and dwell on what isn't. What you focus on grows. This is so important in building relationships, that we focus on the positivity. And sometimes, you know what? Sometimes in life, people don't have someone speaking life over them at all. Yesterday, Shelley talked about people are lonely. They truly are. They truly are. If there's something that you can find in someone else's life that you can say, you are so good. Do you know that I always notice this, that you're so good at such and such? Tell people what you see in them. It'll just bring up such a well of hope and encouragement and happiness that's going to make them feel like, oh, that's amazing. I never thought of that. In the beginning, when I started my business, I had several of my uplines and surrounding sidelines speak life into me, even when things got very hard. And so one of the diamond sidelines once said to me, Marge, I really admire how strong you are. And then I said to her, but I don't want to be strong all the time. And she said, no, but when other people tell you, and you can take that in, internalize that, and know that you have the strength to go through whatever life brings at you, it will make you even stronger. So speaking life over someone brings to them what they need in that moment. And it always sat with me that it was so important to speak over them what you saw, because that relationship is going to be fertilized by you doing that. Sometimes we have a hard time seeing what's in us, and others need to bring it out to show us, right? And so that is how we can do this in real life, online. We can do this in person. We can do so many of these things on all areas of our platform, okay? And so quick recap. Why is it important? Because we want long-term growth. We want to build lifers in Plexus. These are products that people are going to need for the rest of their life. Their families are going to need this. You are going to need this. You have something in your hands that's going to support people for decades. This is why Plexus is going to become a household name. We are building that right here by building relationships, okay? How? Think about them, not about us. Okay, your authenticity will give them the freedom to be authentic too. Where? In life, online, in person, speaking life over them, giving them the gift of bringing to the table of what they hold. We're all sharing and bringing our goodness to the table. Okay, one last piece. I'm sorry, this is getting long. One last piece. Do you know how few people dream about their futures and what could potentially be for their lives in this world? Very, very few. I don't have stats, I don't have numbers, but I personally know it's not a lot of people that do this. You building relationships, telling them you want them in your life, showing up for them authentically in life, speaking life over them, is going to allow them to see the potential to dream for their future. And guess what happens? The ripples keep on going. When you throw a pebble into a pond, how far do the ripples go? You are the pebble. You are making the ripples by building these relationships. Now let's go make friends. I'm so glad that each one of you is here. And thank you for letting me share with you. I can't wait to hear what your takeaways are going to be for today's video.